This week we're doing something a little bit different for our fighter profile. We're talking to a different kind of fighter. I'm here with Cobus Visser. Cobus, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for having me.
So I think a large part of sports, combat sport, any sport, life in general, the large thing that people forget about is the mental conditioning and mental strength. And I've learned a lot of that from you specifically. And I think just to start us off, give us a bit of background on your story, where it started and how you got to where you are today.
So Jason, just a quick thing, I agree with you. I think most fighters, most sport professionals work mainly on their skills and their physical side, but never ever work on their mental side. So my life started as I was born as a hemophilia, and I grew up as hemophilia. So I couldn't play physical sport. I couldn't box, I couldn't do MMA, I couldn't even play rugby. And because of that, my joints started to disintegrate as a hemophilia. And it got to a point where I had to use my mental power to get through pain every day, to go from crawling on my hands and knees to crutches to wheelchair. And just to show the audience, you know, just if I had to take this elbow, it can't even go straight because I don't have elbows, I don't have ankles. So I'm 24/7 in pain basically, and it just means that my blood doesn't clot, and because of all the bleedings, my joints started to disintegrate. It's so bad that at one point I hit my head a little bit, you know, a soft bump on my head, and I got a brain bleed out of that, and I spent in hospital, almost died. So that's why I can't do sports. But I think through all of this, I find a way of using my mind to overcome any pain, to overcome any depression, or to overcome any anxiety. And I think that is where I come in with sport professionals, is to bring something different to the table, because I have that skill, where the guys that are fighting, that are playing sports, have the other skill, and we just combine it for them to be successful.
And just give us a bit of background on the kind of athletes you've done work with already.
Okay, so I've been luckily in my life, we've worked with the super rapid team called the Southern Kings, SWD, they're a team in the Currie Cup. Also had opportunity to work with women, the Lions women's rapid team. And then suddenly my life went to a different side. I've worked with a guy that is one of the pro bodybuilders in South Africa called Cobus Visser. And even though you see I'm not a bodybuilder, you know, I had the opportunity to work with him. And then in the fighting side, I've worked with a guy that went to the Olympics for judo. So also like fighting, but in a different mindset. And then I'm just now busy working with two ladies, one in Meerbal, you know,
yeah, squash, yeah.
Squash, that's the word. And then the other lady is playing golf. She's a pro golfer. So I'm looking forward, always open to new skills and to learning new, you know, ways of helping people in different sports to excel.
And when you speak to these different athletes, rugby players, the judo athletes, what is the one thing that you find with most of them? What is the one thing they have in common?
All of them have in common, none of them work on their mental side. If they work, it's probably a 1% of the whole, all of the time they work on it. 90% of them work on their physical side, and the other few percent they work on their skills and so forth, because they've been brought up with it. So they don't work that much on the skills, but it's usually physical, practice, exercise, and none on the mental side, and that is over all of them.
And what is that journey with you and the athlete? How does that start? What is the first thing you do with them?
Okay, so the first thing is they call me, because then they realize if they compare themselves to their competitors that they need an edge. You know, if we take Usain Bolt when he runs and he wins, you know, does he win by a mile or does he win by a few seconds? And it's that extra every sportsman wants, because everyone has either has the talent or they build the talent in themselves. Some of them don't have the skills, but they train the skills. So all of that is trained, but none of them has that extra mental side. So when we get together, we focus on first, I need to know where the professional are. Where is he at this moment, okay? And all his skill levels. And then what does he want? I think that is the main thing. If you know what you want, you will do whatever it takes to go and get it. And if that means working on your mental side, well, then you will do whatever it takes.
And I think it's one thing that guys don't realize until they reach the top of the sport. When you reach that top 2%, everyone's talented, everyone's skilled, everyone's physically strong, everyone's on the same level. And the thing and I mean, I've seen it from watching combat sports boxing, the guys who win are the guys who want it more, the guys who can push the last bit when your body doesn't want to do it anymore. And that's the skill that you're teaching.
Yes, it's how to access that little bit extra. You know, I've found that working with a bodybuilder is that, you know, our mind is so powerful, we can trick our mind to achieve more. You know, he would do a rep of 10, and then the last one he can't go, and he counts down 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then he does another 10. But just a few seconds before that, he couldn't finish that last rep. So we can trick our mind to reach for our full potential. I think we sometimes sell ourselves short about what our true potential is because we think we can just go out and use our own talent and our own skills. But sometimes we forget there's others with the same talents and skills.
So if guys wanted to get hold of you or come and see you somewhere, where could they get hold of you? Social media handles?
I think first and foremost, the hashtag that I use is whatever it takes, or live without regret. And to get hold of me, it's Cobus with a C, cobusvisser.com, or on Facebook, Cobus Visser Mental Strength. And then I think what my challenge is for everyone is, you know you have the skills, you've trained hard, but why not go for that little bit extra? There's 16 hours a day. If we take you sleep 8 hours, there's 16 hours a day. Most of you spend all of that time on nutrition, all of that time on exercising. But how much of that time do you spend on preparing your mind, visualizing, and getting yourself ready with that extra effort? Because I promise you, if you do that, you will be successful, and people will look at you differently because you are not only doing what you need to do, you are doing more than what is needed, I think, if I have to put it like that.
So it's not necessarily just about physically doing the sport. It's also about the visualization, seeing yourself win, seeing yourself go ahead. And that's a big part of it. So there you have it, guys. Get hold of Cobus. You've heard his social media handles. If you want that extra something that's a bit more than just the physical and mental and nutrition, get in there and get your heights ready.